Act 1. The problem. I'm Aurora Wilder, a 28-year-old female living in Portland, Oregon. My life is pretty predictable. I work as an environmental consultant, enjoy hiking with friends, and love trying out new restaurants in the city. What's not so predictable is my neighbor, who seems to think rules don't apply to him. His name is Brock, a self-absorbed 25-year-old who parks his crusty silver sedan in front of my driveway, blocking it for hours on end. Despite multiple warnings and polite requests, he just won't listen. I've tried talking to him, leaving notes, even having friendly conversations, but nothing seems to work. He always has some excuse, claiming he's only there for a bit, which apparently means an eternity. It's frustrating, to say the least. I've had enough of his inconsiderate behavior and feel like I'm stuck with no solution. Act 2. Failing to solve the problem. Last week, I came home from work to find Brock parked in front of my driveway again. This time he was getting ready for a Tinder date, judging by the cologne and fancy clothes. I decided that tonight would be the night I take matters into my own hands. I called a tow truck and had his car hauled away without warning or explanation. About 45 minutes later, I was sipping a beer on my porch when a girl walked up the sidewalk, clearly dressed for a date. She knocked on Brock's door, but he didn't answer. She looked confused and eventually walked off. That's when I casually mentioned to her that his car had been towed because it was blocking my driveway again. Brock tried arguing with me, but she just shook her head, saying, "Wow, that's trash," before walking away. He never called another girl home after that date, and I haven't seen him block my driveway since. His confidence took a major hit. However, my revenge didn't come without its costs. My neighbor now thinks I'm some kind of vigilante, and our living situation has become strained. I've had to deal with his passive-aggressive comments and occasional attempts at intimidation. But hey, at least he's not parking in front of my driveway anymore. Act 3. The final attempt. As the days went by, I started to feel a sense of satisfaction knowing that Brock was still dealing with the aftermath of my revenge. He never called another girl home after that date, and his reputation around the neighborhood took a hit. But I couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to this story. One evening, as I was walking back from a hike, I saw Brock's car parked in front of my driveway again. This time it was with a new girl, and they seemed to be having a lovely time. My anger boiled over, and I decided to take one final stand. I called the tow truck again, but this time I made sure to warn them that there might be an argument. As they arrived, Brock started yelling at me, trying to intimidate me with his physical presence. But I stood my ground, refusing to back down. The tow truck driver, a no-nonsense woman named Jen, took charge of the situation and explained to Brock that he was in violation of neighborhood parking regulations. She even offered to give him a warning if he agreed to move his car immediately. Brock, still fuming, reluctantly moved his car and left with his new girl. As I watched them drive away, I felt a sense of closure. My neighbor had finally learned his lesson, and my driveway was safe once again. It wasn't about winning or losing. It was about standing up for myself and setting boundaries. And as for Brock, well, let's just say he won't be parking in front of my driveway anytime soon. Conclusion. As I sit on my porch, reflecting on the events that transpired, I realized that my revenge wasn't just about getting even with my neighbor. It was about reclaiming control over my own life. It took courage to stand up for myself and assert my boundaries, but in the end, it was worth it. The story of my neighbor's car being towed during his Tinder date has become a local legend, with some people calling me a hero and others labeling me as a vigilante. But I don't care what they think. I'm just glad that my driveway is safe once again, and that Brock won't be parking in front of it anytime soon.